Good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. It's Amanda from Southern Designs here with another Southern tip. So this week, I thought we would talk about filing systems. Now, this is something that a lot of us don't have in place. So I thought I'd start today with a little bit of a story about a company I used to work for. It was a printer, and they used to file their print jobs by job number, which is all well and good if you can find the job number when the customer says to you, "Oh, can I have my last job reprinted?" These guys, unfortunately, yes, all the jobs were in job number order, which was absolutely perfect in that respect. However, a customer would ring up and go, "Oh, I'm Joe Blow from blog, and I would like to get my last lot of labels redone." And you'd say, "Okay, which label? Do you know the job number?" And they wouldn't know the job number. Now, unfortunately, the way their system worked at the time was in the computer, they hadn't necessarily recorded the job numbers against the client. So you couldn't even look up the client name to find out what job number it was. So the job number system would have worked brilliantly had you been able to look up the client to see what job numbers they had. In this instance, it didn't work because you couldn't look up to see what job numbers they were. So by the time I'd finished working for this particular printer, all the jobs were filed by customer, so that when the customer rang up and said, "Hey, I want to get my last lot of labels redone," he just went to the customer file. So instead of taking sometimes an hour and a half to find one job, it took 5 minutes. You just went to the customer file because it's all filed alphabetically, and it'd take you 5 minutes to find the job that they actually wanted reprinted. You'd print them out and you'd have them done within a few hours. So that's the difference that a well-established and easy-to-use filing system can make. Now, all of us in business, we have paperwork, and we get paper invoices as much as we don't want to these days. Although a lot of it is electronic these days, and I'll do some tips about electronic filing another day. But for today, let's just talk about paper filing. So it's a matter of looking at your business and working out what works best for your business. Now, for most businesses, that's going to be having maybe for example, a supplier section and a customer section. And then the most simple and easily organized way for most people is to file alphabetically. So file alphabetically in your customers and then file alphabetically again in your suppliers. So that can be the most simple and effective way to get your paperwork under control. And then instead of letting it build up on your desk until it's a mountain of paperwork, set aside, say, half an hour every morning to go through and sort through the paper. So you might have a tray where you just throw things every day, and at the end of the day, you're going to have a pile. So first thing in the morning, maybe spend 20 minutes going, okay, this one can go into the filing cabinet, this one needs to be processed via the account system, or this one needs to be done that way, and organise your paperwork throughout the day so that it's not a massive pile. And you're filing every day then. It doesn't become a massive, overwhelming job, because it's one of those jobs, it's just one of those jobs that we as human beings tend not to like doing. It tends to be one of those things that we put aside to the last minute because we go, "Oh yeah, it's just the filing. We can do that. No worries. It's just the filing. Don't need to do that straight away. That's not important." But it becomes important. When it becomes important is when you want, "Oh, where's that invoice from?" And if you don't have a simple, easy to follow, organized system, it can take you hours and hours in some cases, just like my printed job, to find one piece of paper. Whereas if you've got, say, an A to Z in your customers and an A to Z in your suppliers, you just go, okay, it's customer, their name starts with A, I go to the A's, I go to customer name, and it's there. And then what I find is really useful within your file that you've got, say, your customer file, you file in date order. And then you can go, and if that way, if you know, "Oh, I had a job, it was in August, So you go to, okay, the customer file, then the August file, August section within the file, and it takes the guesswork and the time out of looking for that one piece of paper that you might need to do something with. So that's probably my biggest tip this week, is to create for yourself a simple and easy to follow filing system, and make sure you work on it regularly. Because if you let it pile up, it does a couple of things. It takes you sometimes 3, 4, or 5 times longer to find what you need. And that then creates more stress and pain for yourself. And you then end up putting it off, and then you end up with a bigger pile to sort through. And nobody wants to see Mount Everest of paperwork. So that's my biggest tip this week. This is Amanda from Suthern Designs with for this week's Southern tip about filing, and I will catch you again next week for another Southern tip, and bye for now.